Welcome everyone to the Fandom Effect podcast, a safe point during your day to hear and talk about anime, video games, comics, MMA, and a lot more. This podcast started as a way to show everyone to never be afraid to try something new, because at the end of the day, you never know what kind of impact a new idea or a new interest is going to have on you until you try. So welcome everyone to the Fandom Effect, and let's begin.
Hey everyone, this is J.Vulpix Cosplay, and you're listening to the second episode of the Fandom Effect.
Welcome everyone to the Fandom Effect episode 2. This week's guest is J.Vulpix Cosplay. Say hello.
Hey everyone.
Yep, and that is J.Vulpix Cosplay. I'm just going to go J.Vulpix because saying the cosplay part seems
Go for it.
weird.
I mean, I'm happy to be here. It kills time during this quarantine life that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, so anyone who is listening, if you did listen to episode 1, yes, even though it has been some time between episode 1 and 2 being released, we are still under quarantine here. So when you are listening to this, yes, it's still during the funnel quarantine time. And yeah, I'm like I try to get out and at least go in like the backyard with my kid if the weather holds up, like just to avoid going completely stir crazy. But even then, it's like I'm only going 5 feet away from the door.
Same. I got looks the other day when I decided to do a walk around the block. I'm like, it's sunny, it's nice out, just let me walk.
Yeah, that's the crazy part is like people get weird looks just for like going outside in certain areas. Like I'm having like people freak out about like I have buddies that are posting about how they're freaking out about like because they're Mog and my buddies had like people yell things at him like when he's been out and about. Like it's a crazy time right now.
It truly is. It is a really crazy time. People are being more idiotic now.
If that was even remotely possible before. But on a happier note, this will be fun for everyone to listen to. So if you haven't already, for everyone that's listening right now, make sure to follow everything on the SoundCloud and YouTube. Of course, those links will be posted when this episode is released. Of course, J.Vulpix, your Facebook and Instagram will be pushed to it as well, so people can go ahead and make sure to follow kind of the work you're doing, which kind of brings me to a point I wanted to go over because, as you know, we know each other. So you know, I used to be a Midwest cosplayer as well. So I kind of it'd be a weird time if I still was. So my question is, with so many cons being canceled, how did that kind of throw everything out of flux for like the plans that you had?
Oh, it threw out a lot of plans. Like, I usually go to a convention every single month where I have certain cosplays to go with those cons, and now my lineup is totally messed up. So just trying to figure out what cosplay to do for the next con. Hopefully that's going to happen in June because Motor City Comic-Con is canceled, and that's my main con for May.
Yeah, that one being canceled hurt because that Motor City was the first con I ever went to. And then I generally went to it every year. And another reason why I was really excited / super disappointed when they canceled it, obviously understandable that they did, but because, well, considering I couldn't, even if Motor City decided not to cancel, I couldn't go with how cramped that place is on like mid-Saturday afternoon. But one of the biggest things I was sad about is the voice actor who plays Kurama in Yu Yu Hakusho is going to be there, and he really doesn't do Midwest cons, and I've met all the other main actors from Yu Yu Hakusho. I've met Yusuke, Hiei, and Kuwabara, and Kurama was the only one I hadn't met and gotten an autograph on the Yusuke shirt that I plan on like putting in like a frame.
Yeah.
And so I had a few buddies that were gonna go, and I'm like, well, I'll mail you the shirt, and I'll Zelle you the money. And then just go stand in line for me and get him to sign it. Like, I don't, like, yeah, meeting him would be cool, but, like, I just need to complete the shirt collection at that point. And then they cancel it. I'm like, there's no way he's going to do it again next year. Like, it was way long ago I looked at his, like, con list attendance, and it's almost exclusively down south.
Yeah, which is sadly where most of, like, the major Comic-Cons are now. Like, the South is getting very popular. Like, the Dragon Con, the opening for Colossal Con is going to be in Texas. Well, I don't know anymore now because of what's happening right now. So a lot of big conventions are moving to the South now.
Yeah, and to a certain point, I get it, just from knowing what kind of the areas around the Midwest. It seems like down south, it's, depending on how far down south you go, there's a more universal time where they're able to go outside. Like, YumaCon to me, I kind of stopped going the last 2 years I was cosplaying, because it, to me, just was like a repeat of the year before. But
yeah,
the big thing that sucked about YumaCon was how cold it generally was. So you would want to do certain cosplays, but like the Yusuke cosplay I used to do was freezing at YumaCon. Like, just straight up freezing. I gotta imagine so with the Vulpix one.
Vulpix, it's hit or miss. Like, I didn't actually do Vulpix last year for 2019 because of the weather, how cold it was. The year before, it was doable, but that's just Midwest though. Like, the weather is very unpredictable. We just gotta try to plan out the cosplays as best as we can.
Right, and I think that's a big thing too for everyone. Is just like, regardless of what state you're in, like, you know, if you are down, like super down south, like Texas, Alabama, or, you know, an area down there, a summer con's going to be relentless heat. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, you always want to cosplay certain things, but you also have to think about like the time of the year.
Oh yeah.
So we did mention you have a Vulpix cosplay, so I kind of saw that from its birth, but so I don't think I've ever asked this question. You've said it before, but so why Vulpix as the Pokemon?
I don't know, it was my favorite Pokemon starting up, like, back when we got Game Boys, and Pokemon Yellow was my first Pokemon game, actual, like, video game for me, and as soon as I caught Vulpix, I was like, this Pokemon is awesome. Like, it's a fox, it's adorable, in the cartoon she has so much sass.
That's true.
I just love her, so, and it just always stuck with me.
Okay. Did you ever evolve into Ninetales?
No. When I was playing the game, I caught 2, and I evolved 1 into Ninetales, and then I put that into the box, and I kept regular Vulpix with me at all times.
Okay, no, yeah. I think there's probably certain ones that I kept on evolving, but I do know what you mean on, like, having a favorite Pokemon that's not exactly probably one of the mainstream. So like, my all-time favorite Pokemon's Hitmonchan, and it was just like, obviously he doesn't evolve. He's just, I always thought he looked super cool. He's barely in the anime. I think he's in like 2 or 3 episodes. I don't think Ash ever tries to catch one. I think he sees one in the wild, and then he gets like.
I don't think Ash has never caught one.
No, I think he sees one, and he gets freaked out by it because it like tries fighting him, because that's what it does, and he freaks out and runs away.
Yep.
Well, that's a whole other discussion about why Ash is actually secretly the shittiest Pokemon trainer in the entire world. I mean, not to mention that it took him 22 years to win a Pokemon tournament, but in Pokemon time, it was like only 10 months. Because that makes total sense.
I know, right?
That's why I'll give Digimon credit, is at least when Digimon came back, they aged all the characters for how long they were gone for.
Yes.
So they were like, look, we've...
happy about that because I watched some of it, and I was like, oh, they actually did this correctly. Unlike Pokemon, be like, this is cool and everything, but, like, Ash needs to grow up.
Yeah, and somehow the animation gets worse. I don't, somehow you're not aging, but your animation style is getting crappier and crappier as time goes by.
Yep.
Just age him a little bit. I mean, like, he can't have one birthday? Who wouldn't watch the Ash birthday episode of Pokemon? Like, just do one. Make him 11.
I wish. I really do wish they should have done it. Or even doing the movies.
Like, I get capping it at a certain point. You don't want a kid's show like that. Because Digimon was probably always a little bit more adult-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with some of their storylines and stuff, whereas Pokemon obviously, like, has kept to its, 10 and under kind of programming mentality. And I think if that's your idea, then, like, that's fine, but you gotta age him a little bit. Like, sure, cap it at a certain point. You don't want him to be a moody teenager, fine. Like, cap him at 13. Like, I don't know, but like, cap him at 13 then, but do something with him.
Oh, that'd be actually funny to see Ash more moody.
Oh man, yeah, that would be pretty entertaining. Pokemon refuses, like, Charizard or What was it? Not Charizard refused it, but Charmeleon, yeah. Like, Charmeleon refuses it, or like, well, fine, fuck you too then.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually enjoy that. Like, Pokemon, Ash's teenage years. There you go. I don't know who produces Pokemon, but there you go. There's your next $1 billion idea. Ash's teenage years. I don't know where we were anymore. Yeah, something about cosplaying or something. I don't know. No. So obviously I know Vulpix is like a bigger one that you did.
Mm-hmm.
But take me through kind of like the beginning cosplay to what the next plan is.
So, like, my very first cosplay, like, that beginning, or, like...
Yeah, like, what was the first idea where you were like, you know what, like, this is enough to where I'm finally gonna go ahead and cosplay this?
Oh, man, So, I unofficially started cosplaying, like, back in the 6th grade as gender-bending Harry Potter. that was my favorite character to cosplay as was Harry Potter. I did that for so many years, and then when I officially graduated from Central, that's when I became like a true cosplayer, I guess, where I actually like planned out the cosplays, I got the supplies, I made them and stuff. And so like my first official cosplay that I actually wore to a con and everything was Misty. And that was a lot of fun. Freaking love being Misty because I got to yell at all the Ashes that I saw.
I mean, as you should.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty awesome. I actually got a bike out of one of them, and that was pretty funny.
Oh, like he had a bike as a prop?
Yeah, like, well, he was riding his bike in between, like, because this was at, where was this at? Monroe Comic-Con, yeah. He was, like, riding his bike because he lived close by. I was like, you, Ash, give me the bike. And he just gave it to me, and like I rode it for a little bit, and people took pictures. It was funny.
You should have just like rode off and been like, "Oh, sorry, your bike fell in the Detroit River. My bad. Good luck. I gotta go."
No, not that mean.
Well, not yet.
Yeah.
But okay, so you got Misty, Vulpix. Any other Pokemon cosplays?
I do a lot of Pokemon. So like last YomaCon, so 2019, I debuted Mischievous. So I did a ghost Pokemon for the first day of YomaCon, which was on Halloween.
Classic.
I know. So it's pretty good. I actually just finished my new cosplay, which is Oddish. Well, not officially finished. I still have to sew on her number because I try to like have their Pokemon numbers on the cosplay.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I got to imagine that all of this kind of happening delayed the premiere of Oddish. So are you gonna try to bring it to?
I was going to do Oddish at Penguin Con, which was supposed to be happening this month.
So what? I don't even know what the next con is.
Probably come with me to YetiCon. Hopefully that doesn't get canceled. And that's the one in June.
Okay, and where is YetiCon for anyone listening?
YetiCon is in the Blue Mountains area of Canada. So it's going to be my first international con as well. I heard a lot of good feedback from fellow con friends last year about it. So I was going to give it a try. And it's cheaper than Colossal Con.
I never made it to Colossal Con in my cosplaying days. It just never was able to get it to work because it was always either right when Motor City was happening or even after I moved. It was always like a weekend away from another con. I was like, well, I can never afford to spend money at both. So I never was able to make it.
Yep. And Colossal Con is one of the more expensive conventions out there, but that's also because it's at a water park resort, so you're paying for your pass, you're paying for the water park pass and everything else with it, so that one can get expensive.
Okay, so for people who maybe are newer cosplayers or perhaps budget cosplayers, as I mostly was a budget cosplayer, if they're in the Midwest, where's kind of your go-to like on the cheaper end where you're not gonna like blow your entire budget?
I like going to the smaller local cons, so that would be like ones that are held by universities. Those are usually free day cons, so like you don't have to pay for your badge or anything like that. You just pay for like food and the stuff that you buy from the artists and vendors. Those are always really good ones. So I like going to the smaller cons if possible.
Okay. It's funny because you bring that up is one of the ones I always used to going to a lot was Monroe Comic Con, even though after the first year it wasn't in Monroe anymore. Yeah. I'm sure that's a different point.
Yeah.
But honestly, we had some of our best memories were at that con. Did you ever? I know you watched the original Power Rangers, but did you ever watch like the second one? I don't know what the name was. Was it Zeo Force or something?
Yeah, no, I did watch it for a little bit. It wasn't my favorite. So.
No, I did not really enjoy that one, but I think it was the second year we went to Monroe Comic Con. The Yellow Ranger was there, and I think it was only it was like $10 to get into it. It was like 2 days, so we were like, yeah, why not? And she was having some panel. We were like, yeah, like why not? She was in the same show as Jason David Frank, so we could probably ask some related questions to things that we're actually fans of. Nope. She spent the entire hour and a half panel showing us YouTube videos of some YouTube show that she was self-producing to have Netflix pick it up about summer school where she's a teacher, but somehow they're students, but it's not actually summer school, but students are just showing up at the school, but they're not in summer school. But she's also secretly trying to be an actress at night. It was so bad. And we're just sitting there in this dark room as she's laughing at her own jokes on YouTube and then quizzing people after it to like give them stuff. And it just gets worse and worse. Like I won something, so she was like, "Oh, come by my booth later and I'll autograph it." And I was like, "Oh, whatever. I kind of hate you, but it's a free autograph, so whatever." Andrew she had thrown out like a t-shirt, and he had won a t-shirt. And so we went to her booth. We were like, whatever, we'll get our free autographs. So I got mine, and then he hands her the t-shirt, and she goes, "Oh, yeah, the t-shirts are a little bit more money to produce, so I'm really sorry about this, but I don't feel comfortable giving you a free autograph on the t-shirt. I'll do it for like half off." Yeah, we turned around pretty quick at that point. So our favorite thing to do, I think we probably brought it up every other podcast when we were doing the Pop Luck podcast, was to just bash her about how shitty of a person she was and just how terrible her show was.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's just, I don't even know what to say. Like, I look back at it randomly, I'm just like, that was just the weirdest interaction. Like, I've never seen a panel room that quiet. I mean, there wasn't that many people in it, it's a small con. There was only probably like 15 people in there. Yeah. But you could not ask a Power Rangers question.
That's messed up.
Yeah, we were like, but that's what you're known for. You haven't done anything else, like, at all. This isn't, like, if this was a YouTube show that, like, Netflix had picked up and you were on, like, season 3, okay, then, yeah, sure, kudos to you and we'll talk about it. But the only thing you're known for in your career is being the Yellow Ranger. So why can't we ask you about it?
And that's, sadly, sometimes, like, actors and actresses, they don't want to talk why they're famous for, because they're either ashamed of it, or they're like, I'm too good for this part now, so we're going to talk about what I'm going to do next time, which is stupid.
Right, because you'd figure, the majority of people there aren't, yes, a lot of people are interested to hear about your next projects and future ideas, but primarily, like, people want to hear about the show you were in and the people you worked with and, like, the stories that you have, not, well, I'm trying to get Netflix to pick up this show so I don't have to keep pouring my own money into it. Spoiler alert for everyone, Netflix has not picked it up. And it's been like 5 years. So, gonna figure that didn't go anywhere. I do agree with your point, though, that smaller cons are, if you're on more of a budget or if you're kind of newer to the scene, that a smaller con's a good way to kind of get your toes wet.
Mm-hmm.
Which does bring me to another question. So, if let's say there is someone who is listening to this and they've never cosplayed, or like perhaps like you, maybe they cosplayed when they were growing up, or they're just thinking about it. what would be your advice to get into it?
To get into it, I would say cosplay whoever you want to, whether it's like from your favorite anime, your favorite comic books, show, whatever that you want to do. Just be confident, just go out and do it. Try to think of comfort as well, like don't go for the exact picture of that character. Meaning, if a character that you really want to cosplay wears 9-inch high heels, don't wear 9-inch high heels throughout the whole con day, because your feet will die, and you'll be a grumpy person the following day because you didn't choose comfort.
So what cosplay did you wear that had 9-inch heels?
I did Harley, and it was the first day. Actually, yeah, my shoes just arrived that day.
Eesh, didn't even break them in.
No, I did not break them in at all. I didn't have time. I was like, they arrived the day of the con. I'm putting these on. So excited. The next day, I was not very happy. I had blisters on my feet. It was not good to walk at all. So choose comfort overall. So you don't have to exactly match the character that you're cosplaying at all. Just be confident that as long as you show that you're confident in your cosplay, you're going to be awesome. That's the main thing. You have to be confident in it.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, I feel like I have to call you out here. So are you telling me that you really don't have 9 tails?
No, I don't. I don't have 9 tails. I have 6 tails.
Okay, because I have 6.
Okay, so my total count. You want my total count of tails or just the tails for Vulpix?
Let's see the total amount.
Alright, hold on. This is going to take a second to count now. I got 6 for Vulpix. I have a red fox tail for my Renaissance outfit. I have a hot pinks tail for my rave outfit. So that's 8. I have 6 white ones. Spoiler, I'm slowly working a Alolan Vulpix cosplay. I'm making it by scratch, so it's taking me some time. Just finished the tails, so I have 6, so I have 10 tails total.
Wow. That's enough to give yourself a fan on like a nice hot day. Just put your fans on like some weird mechanism and just start fanning yourself with these gigantic fluffy tails.
Pretty much. So
I don't have any. I do not have any tails, sadly. So I'm tailless compared to you.
That's okay. There's always options out there to buy tails. You don't have to always go with a fox tail. There's little tails like bunnies, deer, cats. Bigger ones, like I have a friend that's a husky, so he has a really cool like husky tail that does the tail flip and everything.
Okay. And I do have a 2-year-old, so he's still young enough where I can do whatever I want, and you know, he won't fight it ridiculously hard if I just make up some elaborate story about how it gives him superpowers or something like that. Oh, he'll buy it.
Oh, he would be adorable as a squirrel.
Oh yeah, part of the Squirtle squad.
Yes.
He's seen bits and pieces of Pokemon. The most of it is just like on days where I randomly play Let's Go Pikachu on my Switch.
Okay.
He's watched a few bits and pieces of the remake of the first movie, and some randomly he'll randomly say he wants to watch like Pokemon or Power Rangers or whatever, but so far his favorite person by far is Pikachu, and I think it's just because of how Pikachu says Pika.
Yeah.
Because he just runs around repeating it as soon as he sees Pikachu, so I suppose I can make him like a Pichu. I feel like that's his like extent of his like Pokemon knowledge right now, is very slight bits and pieces of things he's seen before.
Okay.
I'm slowly working him into things. So he's watched a few animes, like bits and pieces on YouTube and stuff. His favorite is still Yu Yu Hakusho. It's the only one he remembers.
Oh, I wonder why.
I have no idea. It's not like anyone just deliberately showed that to him for days on end until he just started asking for it. But yeah, I don't know. We haven't watched it in a while, but he did watch a lot of it from the beginning up until we stopped at the Toguro fight in the Dark Tournament, the beginning of their fight. But he's seen a lot of it. Mainly, though, he just wants to dance to the theme song, and who can blame him?
It's a good theme song.
It really is. We in episode 1, there's like a 5-minute discussion where we talk about how addicting Yu Yu Hakusho's theme song is compared to animes today, where it's every season tends to have a new intro and outro, whereas back in the day it was the same intro, same outro, regardless of how many seasons it was.
Yep, and I miss that.
I do too, which is why even though my list of current anime to watch is insanely long, and even ones that I was currently watching, like I'm super behind on almost everything, I decided to watch the new Saint Seiya animation that Netflix put up. They just put up like second season of it a couple weeks ago. So it's in that new have you seen like the new animation style Netflix has been doing a lot?
I have, well, besides Seven Deadly Sins, besides that, really not.
So have you seen any of the previews for like Ultraman or?
Yes, I've seen the previews of it.
So that animation style, Netflix has been like heavily doing a lot of animes in that animation style, which Ultraman was really good, the new Ultraman on Netflix, but the new Saint Seiya they did is in that animation style, and it's phenomenal. Like, I posted it like a week ago. That intro, so good. So good. But they're keeping it like, so I enjoyed it so much, it got me to, Netflix also has the original Saint Seiya on Netflix from like the early 90s. Mm-hmm. And they have all 6 seasons. And so I've started rewatching that from like the mid 90s when I have all these other anime to watch. And it's the same thing, like it's the same intro, same outro for every episode and every season. And I'm really addicted to that anime right now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know. For you, like besides watching, I would assume nonstop Pokemon, you know, I'm gonna be disappointed if you're not completely just binge watching Sun and Moon or whatever the hell the new one.
I have no idea. I think, I only watch Pokemon up to the 2nd gen. After that, like, once Brock and Misty went their separate ways, I was done.
Yeah, from what I understand, Brock comes back in season 7 or 8 or something, and, like, they randomly come back every now and then, but yeah, like, for me it was end of Gen 2 when he gives up, like, he gets all the starters, like, he gets, like, Cyndaquil and Totodile and all them, and, like, they evolve, and they're, like, obsessed with him. Like, I remember Chikorita was, like, in love with him, which was really creepy.
It was adorable!
Just saying, you know. I don't know what that he does. He's 10. Who knows what he's doing with these Pokemon? Well, it was, like, I remember he's like, so, like, you know, if you compare it to, like, Charizard, you know, a powerful Pokemon that hates your guts, here's a powerful grass Pokemon that loves you to death, and it was, like, I can't remember if he gave it up, or it, like, went to Gen 3, and he's like, it started off by being like, all right, Professor, here's all my Pokemon minus Pikachu. I'm going to start from scratch. I was like, and done.
Pretty much.
Done. You're just, no. Like, what? That'd be like, who would ever do that if Pokemon was
the next area? I don't need these guys.
Yeah, like, that was like his go-to thing. Oh, well, it's a new area. I should probably ditch all 5 Pokemon and just go with Pikachu.
No, you don't do that.
No, yeah, you use them and you catch new ones. Also, how is Pikachu not like a level 99 roided out, like 6-packed Pikachu by this point?
Again, they don't age. They don't age. Pikachu should be, I don't know, a lot older than it should be, so.
Oh, yeah. And they don't. And even from a non-aging standpoint, if you just look at it from a standpoint of how many battles that Pikachu has been in a 10-month period of time, that thing should be, I mean, just level bajillion and sound like a construction worker, like just Pikachu. That thing should be like just a god.
It should.
But it loses repeatedly so much. Just so much. But anywho, so that was a fun little Ash is an idiot side tangent there. So back to we'll stick on slight topic on anime is so other than binge watching Pokemon nonstop, what is kind of the addiction right now for anime?
For me, at least, it is My Hero Academia. So I'm watching that. I'm somewhat behind, and then just finally getting into Demon Slayer.
Okay, yeah, I've not. I keep hearing about it, and so many people have told me like I need to just suck it up and watch it, but I just have not done it yet.
It's different than what I thought it was originally going to be about, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, it seems good though, and I don't know. Like for My Hero, I haven't watched any of the new seasons. So I think season 4 just finished.
Yep, season 4 just finished. I think I'm on episode 5 or 6 of season 4. So again, like I'm slowly behind. I'm slowly catching up though.
Yeah, and eventually I'll start season 4, but for me, and it's one of the reasons why I wait a long time before I start getting back into it, because I love One Piece, but I usually wait a long time, because I'm a very much a binge watcher when it comes to like newer animes. So with how much I knew I binge watched the first 3 seasons of My Hero, I just knew that if I started watching it week by week, I'd get annoyed. It's actually the same thing I'm doing right now with. So I don't know if you watched it at all, but Disney Plus is now releasing the last season of Clone Wars. They decided to do one last season.
I saw that. I'm like, do I want to go by the day by day? Or day by week, basically? Or am I going to wait for the whole season to be released and just go through the whole thing, just watch it from very beginning to the end?
Right. My advice on that, and this is kind of the way I tend to watch animes, is I was very excited when they announced it because I love the Clone Wars. I started watching the first couple episodes, like the first 3 weeks, like one episode at a time, and then it got to the point where it was Sunday, the new episode was there, I saw it on Disney Plus, and I literally sat there and I was about to hit play, and I went, great, I'm going to watch 20 minutes, and then I'm going to just sit there and be annoyed that I have to wait another week for another episode, especially since Darth Maul is going to be in this season.
Oh, that's going to be really good.
Yeah, and so, like, when they did the teaser for it, they showed Darth Maul fighting, like, Ahsoka, because they're trying to tie it into Rogue One.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, come on. So I was like, I'm just going to wait. Like, I'm just going to wait until the full season's out, and then as soon as Cameron goes to bed one night on, like, a day during the week, I'm just going to sit there and watch, like, all 10 episodes, or I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm going to just binge watch the crap out of it. They're good choices. So, My Hero, we'll do a recap for everybody. So, My Hero and Demon Slayer, which is kind of like, probably like, 2 of the bigger animes out right now in terms of watching. What's the favorite old school anime besides Pokemon?
Old school?
Bring it old school.
Probably Kenshi.
Okay.
Like in Tokyo with why am I blanking on the annoying princess, the female demon, the annoying AIs. Like, I'm blanking on all their names right now, and I shouldn't be.
I know the anime you're talking about, but I do not remember any of their names. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Back, like, in the 90s, like...
Yeah, that's like old... That's like middle Toonami days.
Old school.
Yeah, that's like 2:30 in the morning Toonami. Like,
yes.
Back when, like, as soon as it was like 1 a.m., Toonami was like, alright, well, we're done with Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho. Here's the weirdest anime you've ever seen for the next 3 hours.
It was like best, though. Like,
no, I routinely remember days growing up.
Kenshi, and then right after that was Yu Hakusho, and then Cowboy Bebop, and then they will end it with Inuyasha before Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah. So many times I'd stay up to the point of Saturday morning cartoons, but like, all right, well, it's now like 6 in the morning, so I should probably actually go to sleep. But yeah,
exactly.
I remember watching Kenshi, Yu Yu Hakusho, obviously.
Yep.
Cowboy Bebop is still one of my all-time favorites.
It's actually a good anime. It can never get too old.
No, and the movie they did for it is phenomenal as well. Very good job with that. I will say, like, Cowboy Bebop is an anime where I feel like a lot of animes don't do it in the style anymore. Did you ever watch Big O?
Yes.
So I feel like the 2 of them were very similar in the way that if you missed one episode, you were completely lost.
Yeah.
Like, you could not miss, and it was one of those animes where, like, even if you were watching it, you could not, like, read while watching it or, like, do something else while you're watching it. Like, if you weren't completely focused, you would miss every little subtle storyline they were trying to like weave in.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now it's just like you read the description of the episode and you're like, oh, okay, seems like that's gonna happen. That's exactly what happened. The good old days are gone.
I know.
But I think it's interesting. We grew up in a time where the old school animes are like the staples, but it's led it into today where anime is now more widely mainstream and accepted than it probably ever has been before.
Oh yeah, which is great because like it opened up with a lot of new cartoon styles, characters. Like it just made a lot more stuff more accessible for us.
Oh yeah, and I think it's like we were just previously talking about, like with Saint Seiya and Ultraman. It's brought a resurgence of old animes into new animation style, and I will love every second of it. I think the only thing I haven't seen though for Yu Yu Hakusho is I know they released two new OVAs in Japan, but I have not.
Okay.
I have not seen them yet. I'm very curious about it. We kind of, to bring us back to kind of some previous topic we were kind of talking about, you had mentioned that you were doing I know what version of Vulpix you're talking about, but I'm blanking on the name. You said it was like a roll.
The one?
Yeah, and I only know it because Let's Go Pikachu has the different styles of the Pokemon in there, and you brought up how like you're doing it from scratch, so it's taking you a long time. So I know it might be generalizing it a little bit, but when you're doing cosplay in itself, what to you is kind of like the hardest part of taking a new idea and actually like making it?
The hardest part for me is actually like drawing out the patterns, because I'm not that like I have the idea in my head and I try my best to draw it out, and sadly like my skills are not there where it matches my head. Like, oh, this should be looking totally different, but it's whatever. This is my skill level. So again, you gotta work with what you have. You gotta be confident in it. That's like the hardest part for me, is like going from the picture in your head to paper. After that, like I'm very comfortable with sewing and cutting. So once I actually got it to the point that I like it, I can cut out the fabric and everything.
Okay.
And practice with different fabrics. That's the big thing also. Like, if you are not comfortable with sewing, start off with something small, something very easy to sew. That's very, very important. Don't go for the hefty, big types of fabrics, because those can be very difficult to work with. You have to have a good amount of patience. Like, you can't just zip through everything.
Okay, so what is something simple? Like, do you mean like something simple related to the cosplay, or like something simple to get your skill up? Like,
something simple to get your skill up. So, like for me, it was making pajama pants. So I was very lucky when I was growing up, my middle school and my high school, they had like old school home ec class where we actually learned how to sew and everything. And so like our first sewing project was pajama pants. Let me tell you, the first set was not very pretty at all, but they were wearable. And so you slowly build up your skills from pants to making, like I made a purse one year, to making other stuff. So like you just gotta find something that you think is doable and easy, and making sure that you read the instructions on the sewing packet. That's very, very important as well. Don't try to do any cheats or anything like, oh, I'm not going to iron this out, I'm not going to do this, because that affects how it sews.
So like just make sure you're kind of early on, at least until you get more comfortable, like just follow your knowing the step by step.
Yep.
Okay. And so I never, whenever I did cosplay, it was always like, EVA foam. I never really delved too much into sewing, so I have no idea anything about it.
I'm terrified of foam.
I liked using EVA foam. Same thing. It was very early on. The very few beginning testings I did on the Red Herd armor were horrendous pieces, and so I'll give this piece of advice for anyone who's thinking of cosplaying using EVA foam. It may absorb things, but it stains. It's like, obviously it's not a factor anymore. Having a 2-year-old kind of forced me into cosplay retirement, because as I'm sure as you would probably agree, cosplay in general is very expensive. The more you get into it early on, you can kind of be a budget cosplayer, but the more you get into it, you start putting a lot of money into it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where it stopped for me. Was just, I was like, all right, well, 2-year-old, it's probably time to hang up the helmet, so to speak, until my kid gets older, and then I can do things with him. But the foam looked great, but I was eating ramen one day at a con, like splashed like the broth, like only a little bit, like a teeny little bit of a splatter onto the EVA foam, and yes, it will absorb it, and the smell will go away and all that stuff, but the EVA foam will stain. So unless you're gonna spend the time to like go over the foam with like black marker and stuff, EVA foam does stain very easily. So that's my little nugget of cosplay wisdom for everyone.
And see, I didn't know that because I don't touch. Like terrified of it. Some days, like you have to just bite the bullet and just go for it. Just buy a piece, play around with it, figure out how you can work with it.
Right, yeah, and I'll go ahead, and what I'll do for everyone is I'll post. There's a website I would buy all of my material from for EVA foam, and I will go ahead and post the link because it was generally pretty cheap. They usually included like a free tracing marker with it, and then they also
That's nice.
I think it was TNT Cosplay, but I do need to double check, and I'll check some past statements, and I'll find the link and I'll post it when I release the podcast episode. But they also have a free shipment on there, so obviously it sells out a lot. But if you can get it while they're in stock, what they do is they ship you every size. They send you like a little square of each size they have. So like the 8mm, the 4mm, the 2, the 0.5. They'll send you like a little square of each of them. So like if for anyone looks for yourself or someone who is thinking of getting into EVA foam but wants to like mess around with it a little bit, I suggest waiting until they have that free shipment available. I mean, you might have to pay some like a small shipping fee, but you're not paying for the foam.
Yeah.
That'd probably be my best advice for how to start with EVA foam, just because it's a few squares for free. Biggest things for EVA foam, probably very similar to what you're doing for soaming, is whatever whatever design you have, follow the exact step by step, because EVA foam, once you glue it and cut it, that's it. There's no going back.
I was about to say, it's less forgiving than sewing. Like, sewing, at least, like, you can unseam what you sewn, like, and basically start from scratch, almost.
Oh, okay, so a little more
forgiving.
A little more trial and error.
Yep.
Yeah, I think for what I would say for EVA foam starting out, the thing to mess around with the most would be a hair dryer. Because it bends really good in heat. That's kind of what you do as you're making, like, armor pieces or something, is you'll kind of cut slits, and then you're putting a hairdryer to it, and then you're bending it, because it bends really easy and warps really easy, and it stays like that. So that's what I recommend doing, is like cut out a circle and a sheet of EVA foam and just take a hairdryer to it and just start trying to bend it in different shapes and just kind of see how it bends and get a feel for it. Because that's probably a good idea to get started. And then, honestly, like you said, at that point, it's just kind of hiking your pants up and start cutting. Hot glue is your best friend with EVA foam. Hot glue is the savior. Paint. Hot glue and paint. There's so much stuff, but it's fun. It was always fun working with EVA foam. So I know foam isn't crazy expensive. What's like a price range on like a sewing machine that you could use for cosplay?
That's a good question, because my sewing machine that I have was a Christmas gift, but for like...
So free. So for anyone who's wondering, free, bug people and just get it for free.
However, like, you can find really nice ones, like, Singers is a really good brand, and you can find them between like $80 to $150 at like Joann's or Michael's, and those are pretty good sewing machines right there. Like, you don't have to have top-of-the-line, crazy expensive sewing machines. Mine is very basic. It does what I need it to do, so...
You stick with what works.
Yep, stick what works. It doesn't have that many, like, bells and whistles to it. So, okay. I'm happy with it.
I mean, yeah, and at the end of the day, that's kind of what it comes down to, is if it works, kind of the old saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Kind of goes along with a lot of these things, is if you find something that works, just stick with it. You don't have to get the crazy, $1,000, whatever it is. Stick to what works for you. That's always kind of the best advice I'll can kind of give in general for anyone that's kind of looking to do really anything. It's kind of and I've mentioned it before with some of the intros and past posts, but that's kind of the idea behind the Fandom Effect is just thinking back to how minor things growing up or minor things that friends put you into that you're like, no, I don't want to watch it, and you do, and then like just the profound change it has on your life in the future is crazy. I for the longest time refused to watch Doctor Who. I didn't get it. It didn't sound. No, I know it didn't sound good to me, and like till I was like 21, like early 21, and finally Mark showed me the Weeping Angels episode in season 1 of the new one, like the new Doctor Who. I was like hooked from that day on, and now like I'm behind. I haven't watched the last 2 seasons just because I haven't found a good way to catch BBC stuff. But
Amazon Prime you can watch, if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch Doctor Who on that, and it's part of Prime, so like there's no charge. Like you don't have to rent out the episodes at all. However, they don't have the current season like up yet. So.
Okay. So I could catch up on one season, but not the newest one. Okay. Well, we have Amazon Prime, so I didn't know Doctor Who was on there. I might just start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Since I'm like 2 seasons behind, because I love that show. But point being that was the idea behind the Fandom Effect, is just for everyone out there that's new into something or potentially thinking of something, giving a voice and a platform to showcase how keep putting yourself out there, because you just don't know the most minor detail about something you're thinking of getting into, how that's going to change everything about everything going on in your life. You don't know. So that's kind of why the Fandom Effect came to be. So again, to J.Vulpix Cosplay, appreciate you coming on. And for those of you who are listening and following the Fandom Effect so far, I didn't mention it. I'm keeping it hidden from you guys, but I'll probably, if you've made it to the end of the podcast, as always, as per episode 1, and what will be the case moving forward, your reward is the Fandom Effect tip of the week, or I guess tip of the podcast. Who knows? Don't quote me. Don't come at me. All right. Everyone calm down. All right. Okay. I said it, so it's a thing now. Okay. Doesn't matter. Time's irrelevant. We're in quarantine. Time's irrelevant. All time is irrelevant. Nothing matters. The points don't matter. God, I love Who's Line. So for those of you who did miss out, go back and watch episode 1. I mentioned something called Udemy. I'm not going to give it away here, but go back and watch it. Listen to the podcast. Definitely, I highly encourage you guys to check that out. So, tip of this week, I was trying to think of something that would be beneficial for everyone who perhaps is on a lower budget, especially with everything going on today in this day and age. So, for the Fandom Effect, what I use for audio recording right now is Audacity, which is a free sound editing program. So, for everyone who's potentially thinking of starting a podcast, or perhaps you do game design, or perhaps you do streaming or something, and you try to record your streams, Audacity is 100% free, very easy to download, very easy tutorials you can find on YouTube to learn how to use it. Highly encourage you guys for Audacity. And for anyone thinking of game design, I've just recently been fiddling around with Unreal Engine 4, which is a free 3D modeling software that uses the Unreal Tournament and Unreal Game engine, and it's been free for a couple years now. It's very large though, so you're going to want to have a higher performing laptop or a PC to run it. It was about 12 gigs for me. My computer is a pretty high performance PC, but just when I turn on that Unreal Engine 4 program, one of my extra fans clicks on. Like I can hear it click on. The program uses a lot of power, but it's 100% free to download. There's 2 ways to download it. You can download a creator's license or a publisher's license. So the only difference is the publisher's license, if you decide to make a game and sell it, Unreal Tournament will take 5% of your profit. You get more with the program, that version of it. It's kind of more geared towards game design. Like there's preset downloads for game design, but regardless of whichever one you download, it is also 100% free. So For audio people or for game designers or potential game designers, Audacity, Unreal Engine 4, they are both 100% free. So in this day and age with a lot of free time or perhaps just a lower budget area, wanted to at least make sure that you guys were aware of that so you can take advantage of it while you can. Appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to us. As always, please follow everything that we're doing on Popluck, Fandom Effect, the YouTube, the SoundCloud, everything. Please follow J.Vulpix Cosplay on Facebook and Instagram. Do you have anything else, or is it primarily those two?
Just those two for now. I used to be on Twitter, but I got rid of that because I don't know how to Twitter properly, so...
Yeah, I haven't tweeted in like 10 years. But like I had mentioned, the links will be published when this podcast gets released, so make sure you guys keep your eyes out for that, and when it is, please, you guys do us the favor of following stuff that we're doing and paying attention to it. So I wouldn't recommend someone or have someone on as a guest if I didn't think that you guys would actually enjoy following what that person's doing. So please make sure to follow J.Vulpix Cosplay. If you happen to see her at a con, shout out, please be kind. As you guys have heard, how much time goes into cosplays, and I can tell you from cosplaying myself, the greatest feeling when you're at a con is having someone come up and just comment, not necessarily on what you're cosplaying, but commenting on what good work you did putting into something. Mm-hmm. So
I'm more than happy to stop, give a hug, say hi, take a picture, whatever. I'm very friendly at cons. I love hugs, so if you see me, I'll be most likely in my Vulpix cosplay. That's the one I bring to every single con, basically. So just yell out, and I'll say hi.
See, and there you go, free hugs. I don't know what else I would need to say after someone saying free hugs. Yeah, it's free hugs. Come on. You won't see me at cons, but if you happen to see me in life, don't give me a hug. No, I'm just kidding. You guys can...
No touchy.
Yeah, no touchy. Well, yeah, right now, yeah, definitely right now, no touchy. Yeah, at least for now, no, definitely no touchy. But thank you for everyone who's tuned in this episode. You guys have entered the Fandom Effect, and I will be signing out. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Fandom Effect. Please make sure to follow me on all available platforms, Facebook, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. And if you or yourself or knows anyone that's perhaps interested in being a guest on the Fandom Effect, please feel free to let me know, and I would love to talk to you guys. So I will see you guys on the very next episode of the Fandom Effect.